is a wild tai, a Japanese sea bream. It's a shiromi zakana, a white-fleshed fish. And in this case, it's gone through the shinkenuki process. So from the back of the tail here, just into this canal, a wire's been inserted and to remove the spinal cord. And just at the base of the spine is where the blood is stored. So by putting a wire down and destroying the spinal cord of the fish, it allows the muscles to be preserved in their original state. So instead of the fish going through rigor mortis as any animal would after it's killed, the muscle actually stays alive. You can see here the motion of it. It's still very elastic and firm. If you don't do shinkenuki, then the fish, after about, it depends, maybe 4 or 6 hours, gets really, really hard. Mm-hmm. Even if you do that, if you put this in the fridge for 4 or 5 hours, still it's going to be the same. It's going to get hard. They're killed in the morning, and then they bring them to us, and then we keep them in styrofoam boxes with ice at about mm-hmm. 5 degrees, 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. But then by the next day, the next morning, they've already gotten hard. So you have 1 day basically to serve it. Ikejime, what I was explaining, is really only important for shiromi. So that's hirame, hamo, tai, ako, hata, those kinds of fish, the white meat shiromi fish. Because what you want is a really firm, elastic texture. Mm-hmm. So that's what you need to do the ikejime for. But for things like katsuo, tuna, buri, those kinds of fish, sometimes we'll do shinkenuki as well, remove the spinal cord, but it's not for the texture, it's for the blood. So then it's not so crucial that you refrigerate it or not refrigerate it. It's easier, you can keep it in the fridge for 3 or 4 days and mm-hmm. still have good quality. Mm-hmm. So for those fish, it's easier to control. Like if I bought this fish at the supermarket and it had gone through rigor mortis and it was hard, I wouldn't be able to pick it up like this and remove the bones and throw it around like this, because it would start to break. You'd get cracks and the meat would start to fall apart. But because this is still alive, it's really strong. You don't have to be so delicate. It is inside each cell, there's a chemical called adenosine triphosphate, and that's like the food for the cell. That's what the cell uses to do. If it's a muscle, that's what it uses to contract. Yeah. But it's kind of like gas in a car. It runs out. So if the fish doesn't eat, and this fish is not going to eat, right, because it's dead. Yeah. But so it's using that adenosine triphosphate. And then once there's no more, the cell dies. And when the cell dies, then the meat becomes hard. Technically, the cell is still alive. It has enough fuel to keep doing what it needs to do. When we cut hamo in the morning, now it's too late. After you cut them and you open them up, you see the muscles still sort of...
the shaking?
Yeah, shaking. Oh. Yeah. In Japanese restaurants, the way they order fish is for the customer and for the reservation. So they order exactly what they need and no more, no less, which makes it impossible in a lot of Japanese restaurants to walk in without a reservation. And it's also really frowned upon to cancel because they've already bought and ordered fish specifically for the guest.